On the wedding day, my fiancé drew his female best friend as the lucky bride. My bridesmaids exploded in anger. Jason, are you crazy? Who draws lots to select a bride? Are you going to ruin Lydia's long-awaited wedding? Jason looked indifferent. Lydia loves me so much, she's chased me for so many years. How could she get angry with me over a wedding? Besides, this is just a game. Whoever takes it seriously is a fool. His female best friend, wearing a knockoff version of my wedding dress, glanced at me smugly. Women are such trouble, they can't even play a game. They got into the wedding car and drove off. On the agreed day to get the marriage certificate, Jason called me frantically. Where have you run off to? Hurry up and come get the certificate. I took a photo of the 2 fresh marriage certificates in my hand and sent it to him. I've already gotten the certificate. Oh, and next time, remember to call me boss's wife. During the bride fetching at the hotel, Jason's female best friend suggested playing something exciting. She brought out a lottery box and had Jason draw the lucky bride on the spot to complete the wedding. My bridesmaid group of friends thought it was too outrageous and tried to dissuade them. However, Jason smiled indulgently and cooperatively drew a slip of paper with Rachel written on it from the box. His groomsmen, who were also his childhood friends, immediately started cheering. Jason drew Rachel. Rachel is so lucky. Oh, Rachel is today's lucky bride. Rachel, wearing the same style wedding dress as mine, proudly lifted her head and put her hands on her hips, like a gracious princess. Jason, you're lucky. Your dad will give you face today and be your bride for a day. My friends and I stood aside with dark expressions. Today is my wedding, what are they trying to do? My good friend Lydia, with a livid face, couldn't help but stand up for me. Are you guys okay? What kind of joke is this? Today's bride is Lydia, how can you act like this? Have some shame, okay? Exactly, even jokes have limits. Today is Lydia and Jason's serious big day, playing a few small games to liven things up is fine. Jason looked at me, pursing his lips without saying a word. His attitude was self-evident. Yet, my heart inexplicably relaxed, and the uncertainty that had troubled me for days dissipated instantly. At this moment, I finally confirmed that Jason would never put me first again. So I smiled and nodded, okay, let her be the bride, and we'll break up with no further involvement. Hearing me say this, Jason became anxious. This is just a game, it's all fake. Why make it so ugly? I couldn't help but sneer. Was this ugliness caused by me? He was even trying to morally blackmail me? Rachel immediately reddened her eyes, biting her lip as she looked at Jason. Jason, tell me, have you gotten a wife and forgotten your dad? Are you throwing away our years of friendship just like that? Seeing Rachel aggrieved, Jason's groomsmen immediately stopped working. Some hurriedly coaxed Rachel, while others reminded Jason to own up and not be such a sore loser. Others indirectly criticized me to vent for Rachel. Rachel is the one we've spoiled growing up, don't compete with her for attention. Exactly, sister-in-law, it's just a game. Blame your bad luck that Jason didn't draw you. There were no family or relatives of mine at the scene, only a few friends. They wanted to argue reasonably but were held back by me. I was already too lazy to argue with these people with twisted values, it was meaningless. Jason's gaze toward me carried a hint of displeasure, as if I was the unreasonable one. My fingertips clenched white, and my throat felt blocked by a wad of cotton. I suddenly felt it was quite pointless. This marriage was better not to happen. Originally, when Jason suggested Rachel be my bridesmaid, I disagreed. But he said they grew up together with deep feelings and wanted Rachel to participate fully in his wedding. Under his persistent coaxing, I swallowed my refusal. A month before the wedding, he took me to a gathering of their childhood friends. As soon as they met, Rachel hooked Jason's neck and boldly kissed him. Dog son, did you miss me? Come give Dad a kiss. They all acted as if it was normal, and the group laughed and teased. Ha ha ha, sister-in-law, don't mind, we grew up bare-bottom together. If they had ideas, there wouldn't be anything for you. Yes, yes, Rachel is pure bros with us, pure brothers. Rachel pretended to be bold and put her arm around my shoulder, pinching my butt hard. In a sleazy tone, she said, "Daughter-in-law, don't be angry. If this dog's son Jason dares to bully you in the future, Dad will stand up for you." Such offensive behavior disgusted me. My eyes darkened as I tried to push her away. Unexpectedly, Rachel suddenly slapped my chest. I gasped lightly in pain. She immediately winked at the others, smirking teasingly, "Damn Jason, eating so well? Previous people plant trees for later ones to enjoy the shade, who knows how many have worked hard for this big dish, and in the end, it benefits you kid. Listen to daughter-in-law's cry, must have practiced a long time to get that." Jason completely missed my embarrassment and anger. His attention was still on Rachel's radiant face. He pretended to disdainfully glance at her chest. "After so many years, how are you still in airport?" Pouting angrily, Rachel immediately reached for Jason's crotch. "Take this. Eat your dad's monkey-stealing peach." Jason deftly dodged, experienced. The people in the private room laughed uproariously, and I felt malicious gazes crawling over my chest. I felt physically uncomfortable. Immediately, I slammed the wine glass in my hand, cursed trash, and stormed out with a dark face. Jason hurriedly chased out to question me. "Lydia, what do you mean? Cursing my friends like that, how can I face them later? Do I still need to live?" Humiliated tears flowed down my cheeks. "Then let's break up." Jason looked at me incredulously and laughed in anger. "What did you say? No, Lydia, you're actually breaking up with me?" Yes, in outsiders' eyes, I was Jason's lapdog. No one believed I would break up with him, not even he. It wasn't until 3 days before the wedding when I didn't reply to messages that he panicked. He came to my door with a pile of gifts to apologize. He knelt on the ground, slapped himself 3 times, and begged for forgiveness. He also promised no more close contact with Rachel after the wedding. Seeing his good attitude in admitting fault, I decided to forgive him once and agreed to proceed with the wedding in 3 days. But I left myself a way out. I required getting the certificate a week after the wedding. Unexpectedly, today Rachel not only didn't wear the bridesmaid dress I prepared but also prepared a knockoff wedding dress like mine. It seems the lucky bride draw was premeditated by them, and even Jason knew. I didn't refute, just sent a message in the wedding prep group with my friends that it was completely over with Jason. My friends started packing with cold faces. The groomsmen left me aside and surrounded Jason and Rachel to play games. Having known Jason for so many years, "Rachel, what was the most touching moment for you?" Rachel held her face and dramatically whimpered twice. "It was in junior high, my first period without a sanitary pad. Jason lent me his underwear." The groomsmen let out lewd laughs. "It wasn't the one he took off on the spot, right? You, how dirty." Rachel raised her small fists and punched their chests one by one. "You're so bad." Jason glanced at me, seeing I didn't give him a look. He then gritted his teeth and tisk-ed, seriously explaining, "What nonsense. The one I lent Rachel was clean, unworn. We were at an outdoor training camp, it happened suddenly, using underwear was just a temporary measure." Upon hearing this, another round of laughter erupted, making my head spin. I sighed, went to the hotel bathroom to change out of the wedding dress. When I came out, their game continued. "May I ask, what was your most exciting time?" Jason was still frowning in thought when Rachel spoke first again. "Last month, Jason got drunk and wanted a woman. I gave him my underwear as a bedside maid." "Dog son, say, isn't your dad righteous enough?" As soon as this was said, the room fell silent. My hand paused. How many more lies of his did I not know? So, that extra A-cup pink underwear at Jason's house was Rachel's. When I returned from a business trip and found it, I questioned him. At first, he said he bought it for me. But my bust is D, and this underwear had obvious wear marks. Finally, he insisted it was left by his sister who stayed for a while. Jason realized what Rachel said and hurriedly covered her mouth. His tone unconsciously carried anger. What nonsense are you saying? But Rachel licked his palm with her tongue. Seeing his intense reaction, Rachel got more excited. You guys don't know, right? Together for 3 years, this dog's son guarded such a big piece of fat meat without eating it. So useless. That day he got drunk and made a fuss for a woman. I had no choice. Ha 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 ha. Then, at Rachel's eye signal, everyone directed their gazes to my chest. Whistles and ambiguous laughter erupted like a tsunami in my ears. I felt my stomach churning. Truly disgusting to the extreme. Before, I thought Jason's friends just lacked boundaries. Unexpectedly, they were rotten to the core. And Jason? With such a female best friend and such childhood friends, what good could he be? Fortunately, over these years, I held my bottom line and didn't give myself to him. Probably seeing me about to hand my latter half of life to such scum, my parents in heaven were anxiously turning in circles, allowing me to see his true face in time and stop the loss promptly. Jason saw I was silent, knowing I was extremely unhappy. He urged others to take Rachel down first. Seeing I had no intention of arguing loudly with him, he visibly relaxed. Baby, wait here a bit, I'll send them over and come back to pick you up, won't miss the auspicious time. I felt drained of energy. No need. From now on, bridges to bridges, roads to roads. Jason heard my answer and mistakenly thought I was concerned for him. All right, there are many things waiting at the venue, you take a cab over. Rachel's matter is complicated, we pamper her for reasons, I'll tell you later what's going on. He took my hand and placed it on his chest, with a pleading tone. Lydia, understand me once more, Rachel is just playful and immature. I treat her like my own sister, my heart really only has you. My mouth corners weakly drooped. After withdrawing my hand, I wiped it several times with a wet wipe, not hiding my disgust for him. He was dissatisfied with my attitude, but the urgent ringtone made him hurry. It was the exclusive ringtone Rachel set on his phone. A treatment even I didn't have. Since Rachel suddenly appeared this year, she almost ranked first in his priorities. When I was overtime and trapped on the road in heavy rain, he was busy delivering brown sugar to Rachel for her cramps. When I had gastroenteritis and was on 4 in the hospital, he was busy accompanying Rachel to neuter her cat. When we ate or watched a movie, he would be called away midway by Rachel. Such abandonment seemed to have become my daily life. Now, I don't want to muddle through like this anymore. My friends and I left the hotel entrance. Rachel was pouting, hugging Jason's arm and acting coy. I really like that ring, ask her to lend it to me to wear, okay? Consider it you and daughter-in-law's early filial piety to Dad. Jason was a bit troubled. Rachel, that ring is special to me and her, be good, I'll buy you another. Rachel stamped her foot, no, I want that one. Several groomsmen called Jason to be generous and not so petty. I knowingly looked at my ring finger. On it was the proposal ring Jason designed for me a year ago. The memory of receiving this gift and being moved to tears was still vivid. Now, I don't want him anymore. No need to keep this ring either. I unhesitatingly took off the ring and placed it in Rachel's hand. With a half smile, I looked at them and said word by word, dirty things match dog things, it's yours. Jason, this is the end for us. After dropping these words, I threw the wedding dress in my hand into the nearby trash bin. Ignoring Jason and Rachel's furious reactions, my friends took me straight to the bar. Seeing Jason about to chase me, his childhood friends immediately pulled him back to advise. Jason, you've given her too much face, in less than 2 days, she'll run back to you herself. Isn't she just your lapdog? Maybe seeing you and Rachel hold the wedding, she'll get jealous and can't sit still right away. Yes, women can't be spoiled too much, let her know who's the big and small king, or she'll rebel later. Rachel also fanned the flames, these women love playing little tricks, making fuss all day, not like us brothers, so straightforward. Jason relaxed, also thinking this was just my little trick. A contemptuous smile appeared on his lips. Playing hard to get again. Then, without looking back, he took Rachel to the wedding venue. When my friends and I poured beer over the model's 8-pack abs, my phone received several videos. Jason and Rachel taking vows. Jason and Rachel exchanging rings. Jason and Rachel kissing. I was already a bit dizzy from drinking and didn't notice who sent the messages. In my drunkenness, I transferred 200 yuan to the other party and sent a voice message. Friend, please buy 2 boxes of kid fart bags for this shameless dog couple, the rest is your tip. The other party replied with a 2-second voice message. Just a low chuckle. I didn't care and slept at my friend's house for the night. The next day, opening Facebook, I saw the other party sent me a video at midnight. It was Rachel in wedding dress selfie in my bridal room. Thanks to Dog's son, today I not only experienced being a bride but also get to live in such a big house. Dog's son is so filial. Also, I want to complain, yesterday substituting for daughter-in-law in the wedding process really tired me out. Watching Rachel act like the lady of the house in the video, my brows furrowed tightly. This was the house my parents prepared for me before passing. A large flat in the city center. Jason was so shameless, bringing Rachel to live in my house. I sobered up instantly in anger, jumped out of bed to confront the dog couple. Looking again at the sender's note, Ethan. My first love, Jason's boss. On the way to the bridal house. Ethan sent another voice message. Not up yet? Your house is almost gone? Damn, his voice is still so nice. I opened the chat, wrote and deleted. Finally sent 2 words, thanks. He directly called me on voice, what are you doing? Not hiding and crying secretly, right? After leaving me, you found such a thing, Lydia, your taste is bad enough. Yes, I smiled bitterly. When I was with Ethan, people said my taste was bad, choosing a poor student as boyfriend. Then, when he was recommended abroad, I chose to break up. Now Ethan is successful, a president with limitless prospects. We're no longer on the same level. After half a minute of silence, he asked again, where are you? I'll come find you. No need. I hung up. A few minutes later, I met Ethan and about 10 of Jason's colleagues downstairs in the community unit. Jason didn't know my relationship with Ethan. After learning Ethan was his boss, I never went to their company to wait for him off work again. And I early instructed him not to notify colleagues about our marriage. Even the wedding date was chosen during Ethan's abroad time. So seeing me, some familiar ones were a bit reproachful. They said everyone followed the boss to congratulate Jason and me. But Ethan whispered in my ear, let's go, accompany you to catch adultery. Arriving at the bridal house with the group, the key in my hand couldn't turn the lock. I opened the phone monitoring and found they changed the lock overnight. The 2 stayed inside all night. I quickly paid extra for the community locksmith. As the door opened, I rushed in with phone raised. On the bed with my and Jason's wedding photo hanging, lay Jason and Rachel hugging and kissing inseparably. Look, good brothers are righteous, rolling into one quilt, still called good brothers? My appearance startled both. Seeing the group behind me, they were terrified. Rachel screamed, grabbing the bedside phone to call police. Who let you in? You picked the lock? I'll report you for trespassing. Jason shielded Rachel's face, urgently yelling at me, Lydia, turn off the recording first. Everyone stared dumbfounded as the 2 put on clothes. Congratulations couldn't be said anymore. Jason arranged Ethan and other colleagues to sit in the living room, then stammered to explain to me, Lydia, it's not what you think, we're innocent good brothers. We've always not cared about gender issues, so it led to your misunderstanding. Misunderstanding? I looked at the mess on the floor, the wrinkled bedsheet. Disdainfully pinching my nose, TSK, look, the 2 boxes I sent are almost used up, what you did last night is so hard to guess. Thanks to Ethan, after receiving my 200 yuan, he really bought the kid fart bags. He even personally hung them on the door handle and took photos and videos as proof. Jason and Rachel exchanged glances, both seeing shock and dismay on each other's faces. They asked in unison, "You sent them?" I nodded, and their faces became very colorful. It seems they both thought the other bought them. Jason frowned, resentfully saying, "Lydia, what the hell are you doing? Is causing such a big misunderstanding fun? Are you satisfied making me lose so much face? Alright, stop fussing, this matter ends here." We both take a step back. "Don't hold on, there are guests here." Saying that, he tried to reach for me. I avoided his touch and coldly shouted, "Pack up and get out of my house in 5 minutes, or I'll call the police immediately." Rachel sneered. "I say, daughter-in-law, this is Jason's house, you and he haven't even gotten the certificate. Does it wheel to you yelling here? Taking yourself too seriously?" Seeing Jason's face getting uglier, she switched to a smiling face. Tiptoeing, she slapped Jason's back of head. All right, dog's son, quickly apologize properly to daughter-in-law, don't anger Miss Leong." With a stern face, I took out the property deed from my bag. "Who told you this is Jason's house? This house belongs solely to me, you'd better see clearly before opening your mouth. And you, this tomboy bitch, have some shame, my dad died long ago, does it wheel to you acting big dad here?" Rachel's face paled, rolling up sleeves to argue loudly with me. After seeing the name on the deed, she immediately deflated, angrily accusing Jason, "Jason, what's wrong with you? You actually lied to me." Jason immediately became furious from shame. "Lydia, we're married, still dividing yours and mine? Isn't yours mine? Yesterday you sulked and missed the wedding, I haven't settled with you yet." Good thing Rachel substituted to complete the process, or our Zhou family's face would be lost by you. "Fine, turning the tables here." I was lazy to waste words with him and directly dialed 911. Jason glanced at the colleagues watching the drama, immediately rushed over humbly, "Let's talk nicely, apologizing to you isn't enough? Too late." I slapped his face and spat on it. "The one who married you yesterday wasn't me, the one who rolled sheets with you wasn't me. Moreover, we haven't gotten the certificate, who gave you the face to bring a mistress to live in my house? Haven't you disgusted me enough? Jason, listen well, we've broken up. Get out of my house now immediately." Jason seemed never to have thought I'd make him lose face like this. Social death in front of boss and colleagues. His face was frighteningly pale, veins bulging on his head. Almost gnashing teeth, he asked me, "Lydia, must you make it to this point? Satisfied only when I've lost all face and ruined? When did you become so unreasonable?" Ethan, who had been watching from the side, finally spoke. "Jason, this is your problem, we've seen clearly since entering. Since she's made it clear, why are you still lingering?" Seeing Ethan say this, others started chattering complaints. "Yes, how dare you bring a mistress to live in someone else's house? Still ex-girlfriend's house, shameless enough. Didn't expect Jason manager to be this kind of person." Contemptuous and mocking gazes scanned the two like searchlights. Jason clenched fists, weakly trying to explain but couldn't say anything coherent for a long time. Rachel was like a repeater, repeating, "We're good brothers who grew up together, pure bros, I'm not a mistress." Hearing her say this, some female colleagues with boyfriends angrily stood up. Didn't they know what so-called female brothers were about? Shameless people are invincible, what good brothers, a man and woman under brother's banner, everyone knows what they're doing. Mistress called female brother can openly hug and kiss? Listening aside, I couldn't help but curl my lips. Unexpectedly, Rachel suddenly grabbed the fruit knife from the table and stabbed at me. Before I reacted, Ethan had spread his arms to block in front of me. The fruit knife inserted into his scapula, red liquid surging out, quickly dyeing his white shirt a glaring blood color. Just then, police arrived, with witnesses and evidence present. Jason and Rachel were taken to the police station. I couldn't care about others, hurriedly drove Ethan to the hospital. Seeing my hands slightly trembling on the steering wheel, Ethan in the back seat smiled. "My shoulder injury is fine, if it hurt your face, that would be a pity." Long swirling tears burst out, I cursed at him. She was hurting me. Why did you block? Almost hit your carotid artery, do you know? We have no relation anymore. I'm not worth you doing this. I'm not worth it. Why are you so stupid? Probably pulling the wound, he hissed. Then calmly said, Lydia, don't cry, I'm fine. Being injured for you, I feel honored. If you really feel bad, then come get a marriage certificate with me. My gaze slightly stunned, I whispered, madman. Looking at that pale smiling face in the rearview mirror. In a daze, I seemed back to 18 years old. Ethan fought desperately with the robber for me for a long time. Finally lying scarred on the stretcher, still comforting me not to cry. I worried about his injury, also afraid of delaying his college entrance exam, crying heartbroken aside. He smiled like that then. Later, before the exam, we got together. And as wished, got into university in the same city. In sophomore year, his class advisor secretly found me. He told me Ethan had an abroad exchange opportunity but hesitated for me. Moreover, Dad told me, as long as I was with Ethan, he'd never have a chance to stand in the industry. Ethan was an orphan, he could only rely on himself. I knew he had his ambitions. I loved him, shouldn't be his obstacle. But I couldn't abandon my liked major to follow him abroad. So I proposed breakup to Ethan. He red-eyed grabbed my shoulders asking, why break up? We agreed to never separate for life. I saw aside Jason about to drop out and go home for unpaid tuition. Pointing at him, I fell for him. Ethan looked at Jason with washed-out clothes, thin and dark, still bowing to teacher begging. Stunned for seconds, then with crying voice asked me, him? Where is he better than me? He's poor, look how poor he is, doesn't he need this Mrs. Salvation? You understand? I naturally overflow with love, like dealing with you poor people, so now I'm irresistibly in love with him. Ethan almost shattered. I knew he wouldn't believe easily. So I approached Jason, playing the dutiful lapdog by him. Paid his tuition, monthly living expenses, fetched meals, delivered water. I told him this was to shake off ex-boyfriend, just didn't tell Ethan's name. After Ethan went abroad, I still timely gave Jason living expenses but never approached him again. In junior year, he confessed to me, I refused. After graduation, my family suffered misfortune, parents passed, family business gone. Then I was dazed, almost couldn't hold on. Jason accompanied me running around handling things. At class reunion, he confessed publicly again. He whispered begging me, for his face, don't refuse. I nodded, said good, but others misunderstood as agreeing. Thus, we became nominal boyfriend-girlfriend. After Jason worked, very hard-working and lucky, he earned money, no longer the poor student unable to pay tuition. He pursued me passionately, courted me. I still couldn't truly love him. Even the proposal, I had to accept for his face. So I was never his lapdog, it was he who licked me into his hands but didn't cherish. Perhaps his heart always had Rachel, for me, only conquest desire. And what he conquered wasn't me, but my former misidentity who sponsored him. Beautiful, wealthy, kind, shining, enough to satisfy his vanity grown wildly from inferiority. Ethan's injury affected tendons and bones, but fortunately not too serious. After doctor cleaned and bandaged, instructed no strenuous exercise for this period to avoid tearing the wound. Ethan asked somewhat worriedly, then how do I eat? I tentatively asked, shall I hire an aunt for you? He shook his head, just gazing intensely at me. Under his bewitchment, I packed and went to his house to stay temporarily. My wedding leave wasn't over, no need to go out to work. Ethan said he was recuperating at home but still secretly worked. We agreed, during my leave, I'd care for his daily meals and living. He said I could freely enter any corner of his house, except his bedroom. I rolled my eyes, as if I really wanted to go in. During this, my and his phones rang frequently. Mostly Jason calling. He admitted fault to me, asked forgiveness. He begged Ethan to issue forgiveness letter for Rachel. I blocked Jason, while Ethan gave him a choice. Jason manager, I can issue her the forgiveness letter, but you have to resign from the company voluntarily. Jason hesitated slightly and chose. Ethan, she deserves it, I choose to stay in the company. Entering this booming company was Jason's bragging capital. The formerly poor him suddenly became the highest income in class. Became object of friends' envy. Ethan understood him well. Thus the matter dropped. But in a few days, Rachel was released. Ethan told me Rachel was 2 months pregnant, so applied for bail pending trial. Calculating dates, Jason was out of town on project then. The child wasn't his. Also then, someone added me on Facebook. She said she was Jason's childhood friend's girlfriend. As soon as added, she sent a pile of chat records, screenshots, and videos. Unsuspectingly I opened the video. Ambiguous moans and shocking visuals scared me to throw the phone away. Video still playing, Ethan wanted to tease me but after hearing the voices, he picked up the phone for me. We frowned and finished all chat records and screenshots. Turns out, Rachel long hooked up with Jason's childhood friends. They occasionally played multiplayer games with Rachel. 2 months ago, someone went too far, Rachel got pregnant. They originally decided to abort, but someone suggested letting Jason take the disc. Rachel previously looked down on Jason, now looking around, the most promising man around was him. Finding such a long-term meal ticket, not a loss. After planning, they successfully had Rachel ruin Maya and Jason's wedding, and made the two cook raw rice into cooked. Just wait a month later, let Rachel tell Jason she was pregnant with his child. Pity Rachel lost control momentarily, injured Ethan and got caught, thus prematurely revealing the pregnancy. Looking at the group chat screenshots of their malicious plots against Jason one by one. I sighed, Jason enjoyed these so-called childhood friends' flattery in the end got set up by them. Pitiful and lamentable. That night, I still discovered the secret in Ethan's bedroom. He forgot bath towel showering, asked me to enter bedroom to get it for him. I didn't understand but did so. When he rushed out hurriedly from bathroom, I had opened that door hiding the secret. His room was full of my photos. 100-day photo, elementary graduation, junior high, high school, university, covering every important moment of my life. Even on his bed, there was a life-size body pillow of me. On a person-high shelf, full of various little things I gave him before. Even the first gloves I gave him were still kept. My trembling fingertips slid over these old items, already sobbing uncontrollably. Suddenly the view darkened, Ethan's figure blocked the light. He lowered eyes silently watching me, in the silence, his nervous heartbeat amplified. I lifted my tear-streaked face asking him, "Are you longing for old feelings, or me?" Next second, he pinned me against the wall. His nice scent tightly enveloped me, like a net capturing prey. Before I reacted, his kiss fell. Fierce, lingering, with pent-up love. And I willingly let him drag me into the abyss. Tiptoeing, clumsily yet passionately responding to him. Early next morning, I was coaxed by Ethan to the Civil Affairs Bureau to get the certificate. Looking at the red book in hand, he smiled ear to ear. "Originally I feared you really didn't like me, planned to chase slowly, result you suddenly to marry Jason, on the flight rushing back I almost cried to death. You cold heartless woman, why so cruel to me? Hurting me once 6 years ago not enough, this time almost staking your latter half-life." I sighed. Since knowing Ethan returned, became Jason's boss. I was apprehensive. First, our distance grew, I felt unworthy of him. Second, I thought he hated me too much to continue liking me. Unexpectedly, after twists, I still married him. Afternoon, Ethan and I nestled on sofa watching movie. A strange call came. After hanging up, that call continued. After blocking, another strange call came. I was really tempered out. Planned to see who this clueless idiot was. As soon as connected, Jason's frantic voice came, "Where did you run? Hurry, come get certificate?" Nutcase. I photographed the 2 fresh marriage certificates in hand and sent to him. "I've already gotten the certificate." Oh, next time remember to call me boss's wife. Jason stunned incredulously for 2 seconds, then angrily said, Lydia, what joke? Didn't we agree to get certificate today? How even you betray me? I coldly threw, Jason, who betrayed whom? Don't you know in your heart? Do your things with Rachel need me to recall for you? Jason suddenly cried bitterly. It's my fault, I wronged you, but I was deceived too. Rachel, that bitch, and that group of beasts deceived me. I'm innocent too. I was really shocked by his shamelessness. Your poor judgment and careless friends, who to blame? Anyway, I'm married, please don't disturb me anymore. He screamed, impossible, besides me, no other man by you these years, who else could you marry? Then, Ethan took my phone. Hello, Jason, manager, Lydia's marriage partner is me. Ethan? It's me. Jason thought of something, suddenly shouted, Ethan, don't be deceived by Lydia's appearance, she has an unforgettable first love, still eagerly waiting, dating her, even holding hands was hard, marrying you must be for money. Ethan chuckled lowly. Thanks for telling me these. Jason wanted to continue slandering me. Ethan leisurely said, unfortunately, I am her that unforgettable first love. Jason and his childhood friends' matters were exposed online. Those unsightly chat records spread all over the net. Many netizens used Jason for memes. Soon his mental and psychological state had problems. When I delivered soup to Ethan, he was blocked several times. Ethan had HR give sufficient compensation, immediately dismiss Jason, ban him from entering the office building. Unexpectedly, before dismissal document issued, Jason was arrested for intentional injury. Seeing no possibility of reconciling with me, he tried to salvage Rachel. And when he finally found Rachel, she was nestling in an old man's arms acting cute. Jason recalled various humiliations caused by her. Momentarily blood rushed to head, eyes bloodshot. He swung the nearby fire extinguisher rushing over, fully smashing Rachel's head countless times. Until she was bloody and unrecognizable. When subdued and dragged away by police, he laughed miserably yet wantonly. Completely became a madman. His remaining life would pay for this impulse. And in the next bright spring, Ethan and I held a grand wedding. At the wedding, Ethan announced transferring over half his shares to me. Third day after wedding was return door day. I took him to my parents' grave to kowtow 3 times. He stood tall. Swore to heaven. Earnest vows smashed into my heart one by one. When I was moved to a mess, he suddenly leaned over saying, Wife, if you're really moved, can you give me a child? Get lost.